Generation STEM is brought to you thanks to the help from the National Science Foundation and its collaborative association with the Center for Games and Impact, VEME, Eline Media, Haku, and Arizona State University.
In this episode of Generation STEM, a young and very enthusiastic student uses computers to measure the intensity of our emotions. Computer science, electrical engineering, and neuroscience are the tools used to unveil the mysteries of the human brain. Hundreds of students have learned valuable information from the lessons of a scientist who discovered that education was his passion. His interest in math took him to the business world, and now he explores how to apply math to management practices for corporations. All this and more in Generation STEM. Welcome to a new episode of Generation STEM, a series that shows the wonderful world of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. I'm Gabriel Salgado, and I want to guide you through this fascinating world of STEM careers. Today we start with the story of a man named Alvaro Olsen. He came to New York from El Salvador at the age of 12. Music was his first passion, but then he began to explore new frontiers in computer programming. This new road led him to develop an original program that can show the intensity of our feelings on a computer screen. Let's see his story and what he does.
My name is Al Olsen. I'm from El Salvador. I came to New York when I was 12 years old. I'm a programmer and multimedia designer, and I'm about to begin my doctorate at New York University. And when I got to the US, I learned English in high school, where I formed a rock band. After graduating, I tried to pursue a career in music, but things didn't work out. So I decided to go back to school, and after 16 months, I completed an associate's degree where I learned to program and create digital products. After I completed my associate's degree, I started an internship that turned into a full-time job. I worked there for 7 years. 5 of those were dedicated to my boss's daughter, who had been in an accident and she suffered brain damage. My focus at that time was to design programs that could facilitate her learning, teaching her things like the alphabet, colors, her parents' voices, and more. And that experience ignited a passion in me to learn more about how the brain works and how people learn. I applied for a master's at NYU in a program called Digital Media Design for Learning, where I focused on designing and creating a research platform where we developed learning environments using computers and different digital mediums. The system correlates the activities of a student to their brain waves. So each time the student clicks on something or a student writes something, we measure their brain activity. That way we detect their emotions. In other words, we are reading what the student is feeling while they play a game or a simulation on the web. The system consists of a helmet with 16 electrodes that goes directly on the student's head. The data is sent via Bluetooth to a computer that processes it in real time. And at that very moment, second by second, we are cataloging the user's activity along with their brain waves. Here on the screen, what you see is a user's experience during a video game, and this information that you see here on this graphic is the emotions. For example, right here, I have a list of different emotions. This one, for example, is from Facebook, where I was reading my wall. And as you can see, different posts cause me to feel happiness, others give me frustration, etc., etc., etc. At the same time, down here, we can see the emotional response in real time, so we can see the user's emotional response data as it comes in. We are detecting user emotions in real time. This technology can be used for educational video games, simulations, when you're writing an article, reading a book. You can also use it while you work or even while you meditate. Once we build a database, we can analyze exactly what it is that student was feeling while he was interacting with the computer. We can analyze when the student is frustrated or when the student is happy. And for us, the research team, what that means is that if there is a high and constant frustration level present, the students abandon what they are learning. Now, with my PhD, I want to continue investigating that domain of emotion and learning. My advice to Latino students that want to learn how to code is perseverance and to regulate your frustration levels, because it is hard at the beginning, but once you learn one programming language, all other programming languages will come easily since they are very similar.
The development of science is exciting. Alvaro's work may seem like a game because he loves his work so much. Some of these great scientific discoveries may seem strange at the beginning, but they might become a part of our lives in no time. Who knows if we'll be measuring somebody else's emotions with our phone someday. On our website, you will be able to find lots of information about STEM careers, financial aid to go to college, or how to choose a STEM profession. When we return, just as in a science fiction movie, a young researcher uses technology to study the brain as if it was an open book. Another scientist who also works with the brain is Luis Gonzalez, a young Colombian who came to the United States to get a doctorate in electrical engineering. Luis had a special attraction to research and technology. His curiosity and his need for a new challenge led him to neuroscience, a complex discipline that studies the brain. Luis was able to develop computer applications to help other scientists and doctors with their work. Let's see what he does in his fascinating career.
My name is Luis Gonzalo Sanchez Giraldo. I am from Colombia. I finished my undergrad in Colombia and then I decided to come to the US for graduate studies. And while I was a graduate student, I actually met my wife and then I decided to stay in the United States. And my work is in computational neuroscience. This is a field in computer science and it's interested with how the brain performs computations. I decided to study computer science. It's been since I was a child. I guess because my father, he has electronics as a hobby. And then I kind of grew up with that. So I like to put things together, even to disassemble things. And then I always like to figure out how things work. And then that got me into engineering. And then the closest thing in Colombia to computer science really is electrical engineering. I'm doing research in computational neuroscience, specifically in how vision works. This is a very important part in understanding how the brain works. What is thought about the brain is that the brain works hierarchically. So there are different layers of processing that occurs. Like, for example, in vision, then you got the image that goes through your eyes, and then it's just light, and then you detect those points of light, and then you put them together until you construct something that you identified. There are lots of tools to get started that you can teach yourself, things that you can buy for a few bucks, and you can program, and then you can see the outcome of that programming. So tools to teach yourself how to program, which is very important as a part of computer science, are very accessible. They're not expensive things, and all you need is your motivation. What I like the most is I feel like I'm still like a child. I'm still playing with stuff. I'm learning from what I do. I like to build things, and then computer science and my research gives me that opportunity to be creative, to make things to see if they work, and then you have that reward that you see something that you built, something that is working, that you made yourself. So that's kind of one of the good parts of it. I recommend this career because, as I said, it's like my dream as a child, and just continue playing and learning from playing. And for me, that's the most rewarding part. But on top of that, I think computer science is one of the hot careers at this moment. Is very well paid, and then they're always seeking out for professionals on this field because now computers are everywhere.
We have all heard about implants of electronic devices in the brain to regain hearing or to help with motor skills. Scientists like Luis make those devices that seem as if they were coming out of a science fiction movie possible. When we return, after studying and working on research most of his life, a physicist decided that his place was in a classroom with his students. Arturo Ale came from Mexico to continue his studies in engineering in the United States. He got a PhD and worked on scientific research for many years. One day he decided that the best way to use his knowledge and to leave a long-lasting legacy was by teaching. Today, Arturo is very proud of his work because he is passing along not just daily school lessons, but sharing his experience as a professional. Let's hear what he has to tell us.
Hello, my name is Arturo Hale, and I was born in Mexico City, Mexico. And while in Mexico City, I studied engineering at the Metropolitan Autonomous University. After finishing my studies in engineering and mathematics, I taught classes for a whole year. During that time, I taught both math and science classes. Afterwards, I moved to the US to get my doctorate degree in engineering from the University of Minnesota. And when I finished my doctorate, I went to work as a researcher for Bell Laboratories in New Jersey. I worked there for 15 years doing research on fiber optics and microelectronics. And eventually I decided that what I really wanted to do was dedicate myself towards education. So then I began to take night classes at Columbia University's Teachers College so that I could get my master's in education. For about the past 10 years, I have been a teacher at Bard High School Early College. I teach science classes. This year I'm teaching physics. Also in the past, I've taught chemistry and other classes like climate change, the science of music, and the science of color. Physics is the most basic of all the sciences. All the principal fundamentals of science begin with physics and have to do with many of the things that we see every day all around us. From playing games on your iPhone to game consoles, electricity is always explained by physics. If you're interested in seeing the stars and the planets, astronomy is a branch of physics. If, for example, you're interested in planes and fireworks, all the science behind their movements is part of physics. If you're interested in climate change, you should note that physics is related with this phenomenon as well as other sciences. For example, what causes climate change? The Earth is warming up. It has been warming up since about the time of the Industrial Revolution, but that process has been accelerated over the past 2 decades. So what explains climate change? If you want to explain climate change, it's not enough just to check the temperature. It's important to understand the process by which the Earth warms up. Sunlight can reach the atmosphere easily, but Earth emanates infrared energy, and that energy is absorbed in the atmosphere by gases like carbon dioxide. So that energy absorption is explained by physics. Carbon dioxide serves as a virtual blanket, so normally the energy would flow into space. However, in this instance, the blanket keeps the energy on Earth, and this mechanism is explained by physics. This is what makes physics so important. Physics has a reputation of being a difficult subject, but in reality it's not harder than any other. What happens is that most of us aren't familiar with it. It may be different, but it's not difficult. Like anything else, the most important thing is to practice. If you want to become a basketball player, or if you want to become a painter or an artist, or a doctor, the most important thing is to have enough practice to excel in that particular interest. If you're in high school and you're interested in studying science and technology, my recommendation would be to take as many science classes as you can. Physics is the base for chemistry. Chemistry is the base for biology. Afterwards, you can take more advanced courses, and if possible, take math and computer science. Currently, computer science is very important since scientists depend on computers in many ways. Computers are a necessary tool to advance the scientific process. Once you have learned and studied these important material subjects, it's important to understand that this is going to help, even if you decide to do something entirely different, that all of this work that you put in will always help, like thinking critically and analyzing problems. This will help you in life, not only in science. If you want to study or learn physics, science, or technology, you'll obtain an interesting outlook on the world because you learn how to formulate questions. A scientist isn't someone who knows all the right answers. A scientist is someone who asks all the right questions. In studying physics and science, you'll learn how you can evaluate the world in a more critical manner, and you'll know which questions to ask. And that is a great base to have when studying any new subject.
Arturo is one of those teachers who inspires his students to be better every day. He is also a role model for many of his students who want to follow a STEM career. These teachers deserve our admiration and our support because they have the future of thousands of young people in their hands. I invite you to visit our website where you will find valuable information about STEM careers as well as links to other important sites. When we come back, we will be with a mathematician who decided to go beyond theories to give his knowledge a practical use. Jorge Ivan Flores is from Mexico, and he loves tennis and math. He graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Instead of working as a researcher or teacher, Jorge Ivan decided to put his knowledge into business management. He is now getting a doctorate in business administration, and he talks about his journey as a student and the decision that made him go from being a mathematician to a business executive.
My name is Jorge Ivan Flores. I graduated from Texas Lutheran University with a Bachelor's of Science in Math. I obtained a graduate certificate in Business Essentials from Texas Tech University, and I am currently working in a Master's in Business Administration from Texas A&M. When I first moved here from Mexico, this was, first of all, I just really enjoyed math, and it was a really easy subject because I didn't need to know English, which is like something I didn't know when I first moved here. And basically, as I kept on going through middle school and high school, it was always my favorite class. And when I got to college, I took my first calculus class. I loved it. My parents were a very big reason why I went to college. Growing up in that environment, they both went to college. They both wanted me to go to college. They didn't force me to go to college. They weren't like, you have to go to college. But they were both very supportive of everything I wanted to do. Since I was in middle school, I kind of started preparing for college in a way. I started taking honors classes in math, and when I got to high school, I started taking advanced math classes. I took geometry in my 9th grade year while my classmates were taking algebra. Listo. Being in extracurricular activities really helps. I was in tennis, I was in the French club. Tennis was the main extracurricular activity I was in. I was the team captain. All this kind of stuff helps you look better in scholarships' eyes. Tennis has helped me a lot. It was a very good way to learn discipline. I have very good time management skills, and it's also helped me a lot with my multitasking. Tennis was very helpful to apply for scholarships and to apply to universities because they're looking to see that you're involved in something outside of school. I was very lucky to obtain this scholarship from Texas Lutheran. My dad was a very big help in that. He's the one who basically was like, hey, you should apply to this scholarship. Whenever I had a question of what to put somewhere in my application, he would be like, oh, do this and that, and it's thanks to my dad that I got this scholarship.
It's really difficult to both the student and the dad to separate time slots to work on this, but it has to be done. We stressed a lot about the importance of things that they needed to do when they were little, when they were in middle school or even in elementary school, that would prepare them all the way towards high school so that when they do finish high school, They have the preparation to go to college. Your energy has to be focused more so on the acceptance of the university and the scholarship at this point, even though you're still looking for scholarship or applying for scholarships. Basically, what you're trying to do is having a university of your liking to admit you. Once you are admitted to that university, then you focus all of your energy towards scholarship or financial aid opportunities. Recommend the student to get into an extracurricular activity. If you like soccer and you want to try that, you try that. There's other activities that you can go to. Band. In band, there's a really wide acceptance. Even though you don't play a particular instrument, there's a place for you. Another thing that I really recommend is for the student to have some volunteer activities. First of all, you're helping people when you're volunteering, which is a great feeling. But another thing is recruiters in universities see that with very good eyes.
I think it's fairly easy to find a job when you come out of a STEM program, whether you're like a mathematician, an engineer, chemist, because normally you're probably a very analytical person. Whenever you go out into the workforce, jobs are always looking for people who can analyze different problems and come up with different solutions.
As you could see in this and other segments of our series, support from parents and teachers is very important to ensure success. Education is the best gift parents can give their children in order to become successful professionals. Don't forget to visit our website, where you'll find a great deal of information related to STEM careers. There are also games and tools to help you find the most suitable career for you. We've reached the end of this program, but we hope you can join us again on our next episode. See you soon!